Hey everyone, my name is Brandon Lucero and I'm an entrepreneur who teaches messaging. And today we're going to break down why Gary Vee's content is so darn effective.
So many people are asking me like, how do I live my dream, Gary? And I don't have time. I have mortgages and bills and responsibilities in my job. I don't have time for my side hustle, my Twitch channel.
Right here, what Gary's doing, and he does this very well, is he lays out very specific examples to connect with the person on the deepest level possible. And so one of the mistakes that a lot of entrepreneurs make with their content, their messaging, is they're just so generalized. Are you feeling overwhelmed? Are you trying everything and it's not working? But what he's doing is actually very specific things that they're doing where it kind of wakes them up. It's like, oh my gosh, yes, I am doing that. That is my scenario. Now they're paying attention on a deeper level.
And I keep getting to this new place, which is talk to me about your bills. Like, why'd you buy an apartment that stretches you? Why is your car so fancy? Like, why do you need the new Gucci every time? Like, why are you going out Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night? Like, why are you going to Coachella? Like, why?
He's deepening the scenario, deepening the content by calling out the exact things. Coachella, buying the new Gucci, doing those certain things that he's talking about. And if I was to guess what he's gonna do next is he's gonna shift the perspective on it's not that you need X, Y, and Z, it's that you're doing this and that's creating the problem. So he's basically moving their attention or their perspective to what is really causing the problem in a way that they haven't seen before. So let's see what he does.
The answer to all of your questions is not how much money you make or how much time you have, it's what you're spending your money on.
Yeah, so at the very end, what he does is, and this is something that I talk about all the time, is he's not telling you necessarily go do X, Y, and Z. He's not trying to educate, and give you tutorials. But what he's doing is he's getting you to self-realize that this is the actual problem. And that's what we call shifting perspective or thought reversal. And that alone gives you that mind-blowing thing like, oh my gosh, I am doing that. And what most people miss is that's one of the most value-adding things that you can do for anyone, is get them to realize that here's what the real problem is. And once that real problem's gone, now they're even in a better spot to go listen to the tutorials and stuff like that. This type of content, some of the most value-adding, mind-blowing stuff for people. And basically all I did was shifted your perspective.
Please don't be stupid like me.
Ready? I'm tired of talking about...
I can already tell where this is gonna go. And so when he says, I'm tired of, he's gonna go into a belief that he holds, a perspective that he holds, that he's going to view as the successful way or the right way. And this is what we call, inside of our company, connection-based videos, where you find a belief that you have that you know your audience is going to support, or most of them are going to support. And so we talk about two different things. There's one where you change someone's viewpoint, so shifting perspective. We call those thought reversals, where if someone sees a 6 and you see a 9, you get the person to come over and see the 9. Or you can create content that gets everyone else who already sees the 9 to rally up. That's what he's gonna do in this video. He's gonna get people to, he's gonna lean into, this is what I believe, knowing that this is what someone needs, but most of his audience will probably believe the same thing he's about to say.
I'm tired of talking about people having the ability to tune out the negative. I'm done telling you to not worry about haters and trolls and negative opinions. I'm actually flipping the script on you.
What he's doing again is calling out the very specific things. So again, he's never generalized. You watch Gary, he's never generalized with anything that he actually says, because generalization doesn't connect with anyone. So when you generalize things, what you're doing, for example, if you can take a word or phrase and your competitor can take it and plug it on their page, or someone in a completely different space can take it and put it on their page or in their content, and it still makes sense, it's not relevant. So he's incredibly relevant because he's speaking to the specific things that people are doing or thinking. And again, even though this is a connection piece, he's still getting you to look at something a little bit different.
I'm just gonna try to inspire or communicate a perspective for you to stop hearing the cheering. The reason so many struggle with negativity is because they overvalue positive reinforcement. You're addicted to people telling you you're pretty. You're addicted to people telling you you're good at basketball. You're addicted to parents and teachers telling you you're a good student. You're addicted to opinions.
Genius what he's doing now, because now what he's doing is he's telling his opinion, but it's also in a way we're not going to be able to argue against that. Like, you could sit there and go, I'm not addicted to that. I'm not addicted to whatever. And you can go back to the way it was, but that problem that you're having is still going to exist. So people will say things like, he says it how it is, he speaks the truth. What he's really doing is he's expressing his opinion in a way where you can't really argue against it, because there is a lot of truth in it. But really what he's doing is he's finding where there's a lot of truth that are also his opinion, and mowing down this video, and it's really effective.
Once you learn how to not overvalue somebody who's commending or complimenting you, is the second you go down the path of dealing with the reverse.
So it's really good. So one of the things that makes this really good is that even if you are the person he's talking about, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, there's so much truth in that. Like, if you are the person who's addicted to those things, you're going to be like, truth, amazing. Now, if you really wanted to take this a step further, and like, let's say you're selling a course or a program, you could be like, so how do we get rid of this type of thing? You can start to go into the steps there. What he does is he kind of does this inspirational connection-based video that doesn't really give you the solution of how to fix anything, but he found this like angle that even if you're making the mistakes he is talking about, you're still going to agree with the message. It's genius.
Yeah, I know it's possible.
Of course it's possible. Millions of people do it. The question is, are you hungry enough and willing to eat, or are you soft?
Okay, it's a classic Gary. So one of the things that Gary's really good with is polarization. And people are going to mask it or say that he's being authentic. It's really who he is. And it is. Like, there's truth in that. But really at the end of the day, like, there wasn't anyone before Gary who would say those words and content and different things like that. So it's kind of like this, I forget what the word is, but it's like this, it's a polarization, pattern interrupt. It's a pattern interrupt on traditional ways of professional business being done. So let's keep playing it and see what else he has.
I believe I'm willing to do it, because following you, I hear that, eat, and I feel like people that, unless maybe they got struck of just complete luck, that's what they've at least had to eat a little bit.
Everybody ate, my man. Every single person that's made it, they ate and did the work. There's people that inherited money. There's people that have won the lottery. Let's stop thinking about those people. Everybody spends all their time thinking about those people. Those people are enigmas. They're anomalies. They're the 0.00001%. They have nothing to do with you.
What Gary's doing here is he's identifying what the belief the caller actually has, and finding the belief that actually causes the suffering or the pain or the block that they have. And he's finding a way to give them a new perspective. And so what he's doing is he's kind of demanding a new perspective versus using, an influence and persuasion method. But he's basically, that's what he's doing, is here's what this person believes. I'm going to give them a new way to look at it. Thought reversal.
Yeah.
The 99.999 that made something of themselves, ate, they put in the work.
You're right.
I know I'm right. Everybody's fixated on 4,000 people, while there's 7.7 billion people who worked or didn't and then failed. You want to be an actor, get your ass to LA.
What Gary is doing here as well, as he kind of like wraps up the clip, is he would use what I would call kind of like counterexample, where it's not so much of like, here's a specific example that backs up what he's saying, but he is using the masses of like, here's the population of people that made it, and here's the majority, and here's what they all did. They all ate shit, right? So like in a classic counterexample, people would use a specific thing. Like if he said, hey, my buddy Johnny, who came from nothing, is a millionaire now, ate shit. All these other people, and Johnny would have been that counterexample. So he doesn't get to use a specific one, but he definitely hints at it using kind of like the statistics in that scenario.
Couple things. You've made enough content with not enough views where my normal talk of like, you're being impatient goes out the window.
Yeah.
You are definitely at this point not making content that's connecting, and that doesn't, and listen to me, that doesn't need to be devastating like, oh, nobody likes me or I suck. That needs to be, how do I make different content? Maybe you need to do a talk show format.
It's all about shifting perspective. He's identifying, here's the belief that they hold, here's the belief that is causing suffering, here's a different way to look at it that's going to be more supportive, that's going to lead them into the right direction. The thing with messaging is, most people don't realize, is that it's all about beliefs. If you can shift someone's belief, if it's causing a block or causing a problem in your life, that's some of the most transformational content that you can ever have or create or do. Or if you're a coach, it's the biggest thing you can do. And if you're a good coach, you probably already realize that. Like, identify the beliefs that are holding people back, give them a new perspective, shift it, dismantle that belief. And that's what Gary Vaynerchuk's doing here, and it's what he does in a lot of his content, which is why it's so powerful.
It's really tough to give this advice because it almost comes across as hurting one's feelings, but on the flip, I'm actually excited about it. You are very rare. You've gone hard enough, long enough, around a certain way that you've given me the opportunity to give rare advice, which is, hey, you can't do that no more. You have to completely switch it up.
So what he did here is he said, you gave me the opportunity. Again, what he's realizing is, here's the belief she holds. She feels like she did something bad, or she failed, or she did something wrong. And this is what humans do all the time. We take an action, we don't get the result, we label it as failure, we live in that failure, we feel bad, we're victimized. How do we get out of this mess? And what he's doing here is he's reframing the belief that's causing suffering, the belief that is causing her to not take action or do whatever, and almost as, hey, you did something good because you just gave me the opportunity to do X, Y, and Z. And so again, a lot of his content is focused on shifting perspective, giving people a different way to look at it, but in a way that it removes a block from them. And it's very similar to Tony Robbins and people like that. When you watch their coaching, that's all they're doing. And this is what Gary does in almost all of his content. One of the things, I've heard Gary say this once or twice before, that one of the best things he's done for his content is looked into and studied psychology. And so he uses a lot of like NLP and different patterns, whether he's aware of it or not. Like, I use a lot of it in our content now, and a lot of times it's just the way I talk. I'm not really aware of it. So if you want to start learning how to create powerful content like this, shift people's beliefs, shift people's perspective, really look into learning NLP or even something called sleight of mouth patterns or thought reversal style content or connection-based content. But start, kind of taking this movement or focus of looking at content more focused on beliefs and beliefs that are causing suffering. You remove that for people in your content, you're gonna have some of the most powerful content out there.